You know what I will say? I feel like the threat of Tyreek Hill
Ooh, that's
also opened things up so much for Travis Kelce, as opposed. I mean, George Kittle. We'll see what Brandon Ayuk can do for him, but he's been the guy. He's been the weapon,
yeah.
right? Broke the receiving record for tight ends, which I think has been broken by
Yeah,
by
by
Kelce. So
Kelce. Yeah.
it didn't last too long, but Tyreek Hill is so dynamic that I really feel like teams defend deep, right? Because you don't want to
Mm,
get beat over the top. So it really opens things up for Kelce to do what he does.
yeah. No, I do agree with that. I guess I get to back to that point, Bay, though, that if I were hired as an NFL GM and I had to pick one of these guys to start my franchise, I would have more pause with taking Kittle over Kels, right, than I would with Kels over Kittle. I think, to me, and just from this perspective, if I were the GM, right, and Kels got injured towards the end of his career, he wasn't the same guy for the next few years. That would be more surprising than George Kittle getting hurt, right? But to me, you're relying on a known commodity with Travis Kelce, whereas with Kittle, it is more of a risk. 49ers fans do have to admit that.
You know where I'm at with that scenario? If we're talking like one season, this season coming up, a one season where I got to pick between the two, I would take Kelce. But if we were the
Mm,
GM picking a team for the long run, I think and I should know the age difference between the two, but
I'll
the three
check
or
right
four
now.
years, it's so tight in terms of how talented these players are that the age difference, I got to roll with Kittle in that scenario because I'm expecting him to be a few years younger than Travis Kelce.
Yeah, so Travis Kelce is 31 years old. Kittle is about to turn 28. So there is a 3-year age difference between the two. Oof. God, this is just a really tough one, Bay. I think uh, like I said, if I were the 49ers, I wouldn't have an issue with picking Kill over Kels, right? He fits your system better, all that stuff. It's just that, gosh, in the end, I would hate being the GM who took Kittle over Kels, right? And then Kittle doesn't stay healthy. That would really bite you in the butt down the line. And that's where I think if you were a GM, I would have it's really close. It is really, really close. I think everyone has to admit that. And just to go back to what you're saying, Bay, I think it does make sense that in 1 year, I would take Kittle, or I would take Kelce over Kittle, right? But I am going to disagree. I think on the long term, I would still take Kelce just because of the health concern. And quite frankly, the way George Kittle plays football, he puts himself at a much higher rate of getting injured than Travis Kelce does. The style of football that Travis Kelce plays with, he he plays more fluid, plays more like
He's
a
gonna
wide
age like fine
receiver.
wine, like Jason Witten. Remember, Jason Witten played forever,
Exactly.
retired, and then played again, just because some of those tight ends, those pass catching tight ends, they know where to be, how to defeat zone, find the holes in zone. They have the
Yeah.
crafty, ability to beat man, even though they're a bit slower and long in the tooth. So I see where you're going.
Yeah, and listen, it's a tough argument either way. I don't think either GM is getting fired in this scenario for picking one or the other, right? But it is interesting to play these things